Welcome back everyone. We're going to go ahead and do a camera comparison between the iPhone 13 mini and the iPhone 12 mini. So I will tell you first out the gate, the iPhone 12 mini is actually very similar to the iPhone 13 mini in so many different ways in the camera standpoint. So first of all, the iPhone 12 mini and the 13 mini have pretty much the same type of camera layout. So the 13 mini has a wide angle lens and an ultra wide sensor, 12 megapixel lenses. You can do 4K 60 on the front and the back of both of these. And the iPhone 12 mini is pretty much the same exact thing. Dual camera setup, a wide and ultra wide sensor, 4K 60 on the front and the back. For my testing, they kind of seem the same. We're going to go ahead and look at the photos. The way these photos worked, I pretty much tapped to focus on both of them, so I made sure everything was, intact at the same level. And that was it. No editing, nothing like that. I literally just brought them into my computer and then that's it. And again, I'm not trying to break any records. This is just kind of like to give you an idea. This is just a basic thing, to be honest. So the way this works is all my iPhone 12 mini photos and videos, well, it's only photos this time, will be on the left. The iPhone 13 mini photos and whatever will be on the right. So starting off with this first photo, you can kind of see that there's already a little bit of a difference. Again, I tapped to focus on both. So I tapped right on the bulb in the middle, and you can kind of see that, in my opinion, you can kind of tell that the 13 mini kind of sharpened the edges a little bit more of the specific bulb right here. But also, if you look in the background, in my opinion, but it's very close. But you can kind of see that the background, this little option right here, whatever this is actually a little bit more blurred out on the iPhone 13 mini. But you do kind of have to zoom in to kind of see that. I didn't really see it right out the gate. So I will tell you, this first photo, I think it looks pretty good on both. I really don't even think there's a ginormous difference between both of them. If I had to choose one, it would probably be the 13 mini, but I mean, both of these look really good. Now this next photo, again, something very basic. It was just this little thing in the background, and I think both photos also do look very good, which is very funny. I think with the 13 mini or the 12 mini right here, I think it looks good. Typically I'd see maybe some blurring out accidentally of some things right here, but it looks like it sharpened both. With the 13 mini, I think it did a great job too. I do think there's a little bit of a difference though. I think the 12 mini looks a little bit better. It looks like it's a little bit more brown. This one looks a little bit more less sharp, I think, on the 13 mini, which is kind of weird. I wasn't expecting that. I think the background looks pretty good on both too. I don't really think I think the background actually looks a little bit more blurred on the iPhone 12 mini, if you guys can see. I think the background looks more blurred on the 13 mini, so I think both look good, and I really don't even have a preference here. Now this next one was another very basic photo, nothing super crazy. I think, again, both of them kind of look the same, to be honest. I think the 12 mini looks a little bit more darker, but you can kind of see that, in my opinion, there's a little bit of a difference here. Taken at pretty much the exact same time, and you can see there's already a difference. So with the 12 mini, I think it looks a little bit more darkened. The 13 mini looks a little bit more lighter. So I'll let you guys kind of decide on this one. I really don't have a preference here. This isn't even that good of a photo, to be honest. Now this photo was taken in completely horrible lighting condition. I literally went in some really bad condition. I took the same photo on both. And I think, again, I saw this with the iPhone 13 as well. The iPhone 13 mini, it kind of does this like a lightening of the photo in a way. I think it looks better here, but with the 12 mini, it looks a little sharper. So again, it really just kind of depends on what type of photo you like. I think when you kind of zoom in, seems to be like less dust that's visible on the 13 mini. So I think that may be a pro. I actually do think the 13 mini photo looks a little bit better here just because it's brighter, but the 12 mini still looks very good. Now this next photo was also taken in super bad lighting condition. Like, again, I went to the worst spot and just took the photo that I could find, and I think both of them did a pretty good job at demonstrating some differences finally. So you can kind of see that, in my opinion, the iPhone 12 mini photo looks a lot more blurry than the iPhone 13 mini photo. So if you look right here, you can kind of see that it looks a little bit more blurrier on the iPhone 12 mini. It's kind of like, if you have to put this video up to 1080p to even kind of see a difference, to be honest. So I don't really think there's a crazy big difference. If you look at this little thing back here, I don't really think it's going to be groundbreaking, but it does look a little more sharper on the iPhone 13 mini. If you kind of look at the comfort zone, whatever that is, the text on there, you can see, again, a little bit more, I think, blurriness coming from the iPhone 12 mini and on the iPhone 13 mini, but both did a pretty good job here too. So, and finally, another really bad lighting condition right in the center, just kind of looking at sun. And I don't really want to go super crazy. I already did like 4 of these in a row, but I'll definitely say the 13 mini probably won that one. Now this specific photo is very interesting. So if we go ahead and zoom in here, and if we go ahead and zoom in here, again, I tapped to focus on both, so it wasn't automatic focus, and you can see a different styling between both photos again. So with the iPhone 13 mini, I think, it looks a little bit more better, a little more sharp. And when you look at the background of this, you can see that the iPhone 12 mini, honestly, if I looked at one and I looked at the other, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But side by side, you can see that the 12 mini isn't as blurry in the background as the iPhone 13 mini. So I think that's a pretty big thing to keep in mind. If you kind of look at that, it seems a lot more blurry on the iPhone 13 mini than on the iPhone 12 mini. So when it comes down to it, I think, the 12 mini, I think it still does a great job of blurring out the background, but you're going to get a more blurry background from the iPhone 13 mini, at least in software standpoint, than on the iPhone 12 mini. Now this photo I took in portrait mode on both, and I wish I kind of walked in a little bit on the iPhone 13 mini, but it's totally okay. And between both, again, I think both portrait modes are really good. I can't even tell that big of a difference, to be honest. But one thing I've been noticing with the iPhone 13 mini series is that they actually do a good job at kind of making sure that the side of the objects that you're trying to take portrait modes in aren't really cutting into the actual photo. So you can see right here, the 13 mini did a great job at kind of blurring out this one. The 13 did a great job of blurring out this one. The 13 mini, on the other hand, kept it in, which is very strange. With the iPhone 12 mini, you can see they still kept it in totally okay. I don't really think one of these are worse than the other one. The stem right here, whatever this is, looks pretty much the same. The object in the center looks pretty good on both, but I kind of do think the 12 mini looks a little bit better. Actually, I don't think so. They both look kind of the same. I think they're both very similar than not. I will say the color looks a little bit more punchier on the iPhone 13 mini though, which is pretty cool. Now this next photo I demonstrated just the lenses that you have on this phone. So this is the wide angle lens, and then this is just zooming in all the way. It's going to be exactly the same because you have the same cameras, and then this is zoomed out all the way too. So again, same exact thing. You're not going to see that big of a difference. But if we go ahead and from the ultra wide sensor, we zoom into a corner right here, you may be able to tell a difference. Me personally, I really don't think there was that big of a difference. This could be sunlight differences and all that stuff. So in terms of right now, the camera quality is, at least on the ultra wide sensor, I think has improved a little bit. The biggest thing though is the zooming in and zooming out. That's actually been improved quite a bit on this specific camera. Now finally, I think this is the final one. This specific photo was just of the chair, nothing super crazy. If we zoom in, I actually do think the 12 mini did a better job here. You can see it kind of blurred this option out. Maybe I don't think I changed the camera or I moved it. You can see with the 12 mini much more sharper here, which is very interesting. I tapped the focus again on the same exact spot, so it's very interesting. It could be that maybe it thought the color of the background was the same color here and it blurred it by accident. I'm not too sure. I'm not even going to try to make excuses for it. I think the 12 mini and this specific photo actually looks a little bit better, but they both look very similar when you're zoomed out. So in terms of that pretty much covers up all the photos that I wanted to hit on. And to be honest, I think the 13 mini is the better camera, like I mentioned here and there, but it's so similar that if you're honestly not looking to just like zoom in and zoom out of a bunch of photos like I've been doing this whole comparison, you're really not going to notice that big of a difference. I personally haven't seen too many crazy differences with something like a 12 mini and a 13 mini. And to be honest, I haven't noticed a big difference between an iPhone 11 and an iPhone 13 camera quality either. They both seem more similar than not. And if I had to choose one, I mean, obviously I would choose the 13 mini over the 12 mini, but there's a lot of similarity here between these two cameras. I think a big thing, like I kind of mentioned a couple minutes ago, was that this camera UI seems a little bit smoother. So when you're zooming in and zooming out, especially on a 13 Pro Max, this seems like it switches between the lenses a little bit smoother. So I think that's a big thing. You're going to have a little bit more of a stable UI, but I do think something like an iPhone 12 mini is still more than capable. Let's just say the 13 mini was a 10 out of 10 perfect camera, which it isn't, but let's just say it was. The iPhone 12 mini, in my opinion, would easily be a 9.7 out of 10. It's very, very similar. The only thing I can even think about is probably like cinematic mode, but it wouldn't be a fair comparison because both of these don't support it natively, just the 13 mini. So when it comes down to it, that pretty much covers it up here. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that means so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.